All right, time for something a bit different. I think I'm just going to talk about some balance changes today, or balance suggestions. Now, these are all just opinions, so disclaimer, don't get upset if I suggest nerfing one of your favorite pets. Just, post a calm and collected comment below explaining why you think these pets are fine the way they are. Or maybe even some of them you think need buffed. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, number one, I don't think there's going to be much disagreement here. Turkey, definitely a menace, and I feel like there's very few people that would argue it's balanced the way it is. Now, it used to be +2, +3. There was a time when it had been nerfed, and that kind of toned down the constant Turkey parrot teams that you were facing, especially in Pack 1. But then there was another update, and they reverted it back to +3, +3. With no reason given, and Turkey is just it's so common, it's ubiquitous in summon teams virtually in custom packs as well, and it's because it's so easy to level stuff up in customs, it just rapidly gets out of control. There was also a change to Fly a while back, where Fly no longer wastes a trigger, so working, the two of them obviously work very well together, and guaranteeing that you're going to get three zombie flies also just makes a big difference, especially when you've got Turkey Parrot giving +12 to each one. So what would I do? Well, I think the easiest suggestion is just let's revert it back to +2, +3. I thought everyone was happy enough with that. Okay, next up. Alpaca. Now, this one might be a bit more contentious because they obviously tried to nerf Alpaca in the test build. They got a pretty negative reaction, and they put it back to the way it was. Now, I think the reason they got a negative reaction was that they changed the identity of it, so you couldn't use it in the shop. It was only in battle. And I think, it's fine for it to be the way it is in the shop. It just needs toned down a bit. So part of the issue with it is that it is one of the most fun units in the game, but the reason it's so fun is because it's just ridiculous. It's almost comically overpowered. If you can get it on turn 7 from Eagle, obviously, but also just getting it on turn 9 and then pilling a level 2 blobfish onto it, or maybe selling a level 2 crow, you can instantly get it to level 2, and then you just go ham, leveling anything up, unlocking tier 6 units every time you do it, so then you can buy another tier 6 and level it up, and you can completely retool your team in 1 or 2 turns and have almost a full team of tier 6 units. It just breaks the game, basically. And I think the simplest solution to fix it is just reduce it to 1 trigger per turn. That means you can still play around the trigger reset when you level up, but at the same time you're not able to build an entire army of tier 5s and 6s, level 2, level 3, and but that keeps its identity intact. Okay, next up, we have Chicken. Now, this one probably doesn't need a nerf. In fact, it needs some urgent attention, I think. So a lot of people seem to have strong opinions about Chicken, and yet no one is using it. And I've spent the last couple of weeks playing it pretty heavily. And let me tell you, it is bad. It is very bad. At level 1, it is almost completely useless. As soon as you buy it, you're essentially sacrificing, unless you have a very strong, say, Buffalo team or something, you're going to lose the next few rounds. And the scaling that you can get from it is so slow, you're never going to keep up with the teams that are just like 5 scaling pets, 4 or 5 scaling pets. They're going to have an entire team of 50-50s before you get there. It's heavily reliant on overpowered pets like Alpaca and Blobfish, Buffalo, to even actually get a run that works. And believe me, I've had multiple runs that are close to 50-50 shop and still lose, because the other teams have just scaled completely and every unit on their team has a melon or other equipment. So how would I fix chicken? Well, there might be some room for optimism because they've changed to a new life system, which seems to be more forgiving. So I think you can lose 1 or 2 more times. That's going to probably have quite a big effect on the whole game. But I don't know whether or not it's going to make chicken any better as it is, because the teams that, there are going to be more teams that have been around longer, if that makes sense. So the teams that had 3 or 4 scaling pets and were going to lose because they were on their last life are going to have extra turns to scale. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But as it stands just now, I think I would just revert it back to tier 5 and then fix the overpowered pets, which were the whole reason that it was possible in the first place, for turn 10, 11, 12, 50-50 shops, which... people watch those videos that were released and kind of lost their minds, but you have to remember that a lot of those are high rolls as well. So, chicken, please fix it. Not having access to chicken in Pack 2 at tier 5, you would never ever buy chicken in Pack 2. Next, jellyfish. Jellyfish is really kind of awkward because it's a Pack 3 pet, and Pack 3 is kind of seen as being the weakest of the 3 base packs. And so possibly jellyfish, blobfish, clownfish have escaped any attention so far because they don't want to mess with Pack 3. I don't know, but in the context of custom packs, jellyfish is absolutely ridiculous. So it's a self-scaler available on turn 3. I mean, technically you can get it turn 1 and 2, but when you see it on turn 3, you're auto taking it if you're trying to win. And it was designed for Pack 3. So there's no chocolate, no pill. There's a mistake here. It says no crow. There is actually crow in Pack 3 because they changed that. But there's no alpaca. You weren't supposed to be able to level this thing up as fast as you could, or level up other pets, which are then feeding into the jellyfish. So I would say at this point it's more common in custom packs to see a massive jellyfish on the opposing team than it is to see massive bison, which is wild really when you think about it. The jellyfish is paywalled in Pack 3, and yet it's so prevalent. It would be interesting to know how many people have lost to jellyfish, clownfish over and over again and then just gone and bought Pack 3. So what would I do about it? Well, I'm not sure. I mean, you could change it to be in battle only for tier 2, and then you actually have to use blobfish or pug or white tiger. But I'm not sure anyone would be up for that. It could move up a tier, but obviously, like I said, the problem is the state of Pack 3 is that if you nerf some of these pets, then Pack 3 is going to need a lot of attention. So hopefully they'll get around to balancing it at some point. Next up, raccoon. So this is one that I don't think it actually sees an awful lot of play in custom arena, but to me it's wild that it's tier 2 because the ability is stronger than many tier 6 units in my opinion. Obviously it's not alone in the overpowered tier 2s section, like we just talked about jellyfish, but we've got Dodo here. Now thankfully they have made some adjustments to Dodo for the next version of the game. Bat and salamanders maybe the number one offender, but getting it so early in the game means you can scale it up to very high stat levels, so it's your strongest unit, and you're probably going to be 2 for 1ing, 3 for 1ing in the late game because everyone has melon, pepper, steak on all their front units. Now it does have a bit of a drawback in that you can't really play it with weakness pets, so raccoon bat or raccoon toad doesn't make any sense because you can end up stealing the weakness. But other than that, it's just an extremely strong ability available very, very early. I suppose it's not the strongest in the early game because there's only really meat, bone, I guess honey that you can be stealing. But getting it early means that you can just funnel stats into it and it will be a force to be reckoned with in the late game. So what would I do? Well, I guess give it some better base stats and then move up in the tiers, or its ability could be toned down so that it can't go stealing 3 different food items at level 3. They could possibly make it something like a Doberman, or where when it triggers, it it steals something and then it gains some health or something. But triple steal at tier 2 is just is too much for me. All right, and lastly, on the flip side, I'm just going to quickly talk about Rat. Now, Rat is a terrible pet. I think most people can agree with that, although I know there are some Rat fans out there. But I think it's a great design for a tier 2 because it has high stats, so it's very attractive to buy it just as a fill for 1 or 2 turns. Its ability is unique, but it's very awkward. So you buy it for the stats, but you're also paying a little bit of a price. You can have your dirty rat can trigger horse, turkey, kangaroo, ox. The list never ends. But it does have some limited synergy. So you're kind of introduced to the idea of comboing rat with camel, with hippo, things like that. But those synergies are not very strong. So why did I put it on this list if it doesn't really need any changes? Well, the one change I would really like to see is I would like to be able to pill a rat in the shop and summon a dirty rat. And I know that would be, contrary to the way that the ability works, but I just want that level 3 achievement. This guy has been in the game for so long, and I can't get the level 3 dirty rat achievement. So please, devs, make that dream come true. All right, this is only part 1. I'm going to split the video into 2 parts, and I'm going to talk about some other pets in that one. But in the meantime, comment below with other pets you think need some attention, whether that's nerfs or buffs, or actually maybe do you just like the way the game is now and you don't think anything needs changed? So I'm curious to see what you think.